My name is Rina and I'm from Albania. I grew up with my two parents. Both of my parents are from two different faiths. My father was at that time involved in politics. He was against a dictatorship, and he spent 12 years in jail for that, and he got married with my mom when he came out of jail. My parents could not talk to me about God because it was dangerous for them and for my family too if they would do it. This was against the principles of the dictatorship, so they couldn't do that. After 1990, when the dictatorship was over in Albania, we started celebrating both of the celebration and festivities of both faiths of my parents, but none of them could give me some of the answers that I was looking for. And at that time, we had different religious leaders that came in the area, and one of those was a religious leader from my father's side. And he started giving me all the answers that I was looking for about God and for God. When I was 11, my father died in a car accident, and I got so mad at God because my father was like God and was first him and any other beliefs after that. So I got mad at him and I told him that I didn't want to follow him anymore because he wasn't just. I didn't deny the existence of God, but since I thought he wasn't just, I told him that I didn't want to have to do anything with him, and I could deal with my life better that he was doing. So I decided to get out of any religious practice, and I just didn't want to have God anymore in my life. I could do things better. I had a hard time to accept the death of my father. I didn't cry, I didn't go in at his funeral. It was like nothing has happened. But at the same time, I started becoming very violent with other people. I was so angry with everything, and I became a big problem for my family. We moved in another city, and there I met two girls. And they started talking about Jesus and his love and how amazing he was. But one of the things that I learned through my father's faith was that you choose that faith because all the other ones are wrong. So I had all the answers for Christians. So one day they invited me at their church, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna show to this Christian what the truth is. And but when I got there, it was so good. So I got so involved in games and in the stories and everything they were doing. So when I went home and I told my mom, Mom, that was great, she said, no, I don't want you to go anymore in that church. My family was very disappointed at me because I chose to give up in my father's faith, and becoming Christian for them was hurting them so much, and I didn't want to continue to disappoint them. So I gave up in Christianity, I gave up in this faith, but it was good that God didn't give up on me. At the same time, I was still 11. In our school, there was this English teacher from Canada, and actually he was a pastor, but he was helping with the school, and he wanted to open a church in the city where I was living. And so one day he invited me and my friends in his house and told us this idea, and he needed our help to go and give brochures around the city, where one side was invitation and the other side a story of Jesus. So I told him that I was going to help him just because he was my friend, but I didn't agree with what he was going to do. I took 100 of these brochures and I just gave them all around, but I never read one. And the last night, I was going home and I had just one of these brochures with me, and I took it with me at home because I didn't find anybody. That night, I went in my bedroom and I was crying so hard. And because it was the moment where I realized the death of my father. And I took this brochure that was there, and I was just reading the story of Jesus. And at the end it says, if you want God as a father, and just ask him to be your father. And so that moment I just need, and I realized how stupid I've been with God in leaving him outside of my life, and just said, I need there. And I said, okay, let's start over together. I like to say that in the moment that I realized that I've lost a God-like father, I found a father like God. From that moment, things started to become very hard with my family, especially the relationship with my mom. And she told me that I couldn't go anywhere except school for almost a year. And after a year, my behavior changed completely. From being a pain for my family, I started to be very helpful. And she was very surprised with this approach. So although she didn't agree with my decisions, she said that I could go to church, and after a while I could bring my sisters too with me. This year I will be graduating with European Nazarene College with a Bachelor in Ministry, and after I will go to Italy and be involved in ministry there and work toward ordination. I did not like to share my story until I realized that it wasn't my story.